Welcome, everybody, to the Takeaways edition of the Vegas Nation podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Fang, today joined by NFL alumnus Mark Millian. I'm very excited to have him here on the show with me. But first, before we get into the interview with Mark, I want to remind everybody to hit subscribe wherever you are checking out the show, whether it's on YouTube or on one of our audio platforms. Of course, you can find this podcast wherever you find your shows and podcasts and whatnot. And we are brought to you by Station Casinos, STN Sports. Download that app today. All right, Mark, I'm so excited. Long overdue to get you here on the show with Takeaways. You've been so busy, next level chef with Gordon Ramsay. I mean, you've been all over the country doing things for charity, doing things with your Grilling with Macmillan cooking and everything that you've put together. I mean, it's really impressive on top of your NFL career. CBS, I forgot to mention CBS analyst. Yeah. All of the things that you are doing. I mean, what has it been like for you, first of all, just as of late?
This morning I woke up and I just thank God for just blessing me with this platform. It's still surreal. I just got to keep going. I try not to focus on, what I've accomplished. I just continue to focus on the goal, and that's to just help out as much as I can and use my platform to help others out. Obviously, being on Gordon Ramsay show, Next Level Chef, was like shocking to everybody, even to myself. Just a home cook, and all of a sudden I'm flying to London, England.
Yeah.
And everybody around the organization is like, "Where are you?" No one knew where I was. I just disappeared. But it's been great. I've been able to open up a lot of doors for some organizations for kids. I just did my third annual football camp for kids that's been harassed and bullied in Pennsylvania a month ago. So we're excited about that, to continue to grow that program, and to grow it all over the country, not just in Philadelphia. But I want to be able to do it here in Vegas, as well as Phoenix and California, where I'm originally from, to just try to bring awareness. As we know, social media can be brutal nowadays for these teenagers.
I'd be happy to come in there, hold some tackle pads, whatnot, get on the sled, let kids push me. Anyway, I can volunteer to help you out. You let me know, and I'm serious about that.
I got you.
I'm all about that. I mean, when you look at the things you're doing, you also have something coming up with Evil Pie, where it looks like $7 a slice is also going to help with charity. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is our second charity pizza that I've teamed up with Evil Pie and Chef Richard over there on Fremont Street. So we're excited. The first one was Nathan Adelson Hospice Care, where we raised over $1,800 last year, and this year we've partnered up with the St. Jude's Children's Ranch. So we're excited about that. And me and my wife had a chance to go visit the ranch and just see how it works and see where the money goes, and just see how the staff just takes amazing care of these kids that's been through. I can't even describe all the trauma that these kids have been through, but these staff members, cuddle these kids and try to get them back to normal as possible. So we just decided to just dive all in and see how we can help. And now we got the barbecue brisket pizza that's going to launch August 1st and is going to go through September. So they're giving us 2 months to try to raise as much money as we can to go back to the St. Jude's Children's Ranch.
Man, I love that. Okay, and what you're doing is great, but you had me at beef brisket on pizza. I don't even know. My brain is still trying to process. I read actually some of the ingredients online that you have posted, and the olive oil and some jalapenos. You're talking my style. Can you give away the full pizza slice that will be going out for charity in St. Jude's?
I can't give away all the ingredients,
Okay.
but it is going to have my barbecue. It's going to have my sweet heat barbecue sauce on it as well, that you can buy online. Also, you can buy my barbecue sauce at Barbecue Concepts here in Las Vegas as well. So the brand is expanding, but I knew, just with that sweet heat and then add some jalapenos on there, I know people were going to go nuts, because it's got like a little sweet and a little heat. And who's doing brisket on a pizza? No one is doing that.
I remember. So once I went to Jamaica, and the guy asked me if I like my salties with my sweets. And I said, I don't know why he said that, but and then I said what I liked, and he said, "Oh, you're liking the sweet heat," And I said, "Okay, I'm liking the sweet heat." So what you said right there is exactly up my alley. I'm gonna try to get down there too if I can. I don't know what you're doing a whole pie for, but I saw 7 slices. I might just come around, get a whole pie, give out to charity and all that.
There
And
you
then
go.
I feel really happy about eating the sweet heat. So
Yeah, yeah.
um, the Next Level Chef was quite an experience too. I watched that with you on there. I know we did
Yeah,
speak about that before, but when you look at the Next Level Chef experience and getting to work with Gordon Ramsay as somebody who's become this like, entrepreneur in the
yeah,
food
yeah.
arena for you, like what is that experience like working with somebody like Gordon Ramsay on that show?
It was great. Obviously getting the call, and then when we get to London, you don't know who team you're going to be on, and then obviously we get the call, and the door opens up, and Gordon Ramsay's run through the elevator, and we're like, they didn't show it on TV, but I literally rammed him up against the wall. But they didn't show that on TV, and I was just so excited, I just completely lost it. It's like,
Yes.
come on, man! I went from in the media room with you guys to on the plane in London, just disappeared off the earth,
You
and now
did.
sitting in front of Gordon Ramsay, who's the most popular chef right now in the world, and being able to learn from him and get yelled at, get screamed at a little bit, but just that experience alone, I don't take that for granted because I know there is millions of professional chefs that will kill for that opportunity to learn
Yeah.
from Gordon Ramsay. So I don't take that lightly. I can continue to spread the word about the show. The show actually was the #1 rated reality show ever. We broke tons of records
I
for
love
that
it.
show that aired right after the Super Bowl, and they hit the jackpot. And I hit the jackpot too. Two of my teams I played for, the Eagles and the Chiefs, end up playing in the Super Bowl, so
Yeah.
they capitalized on that as well.
Well, that's also why I did bring you on, was because I did want to speak to you about just what's happening right now with the Raiders. You mentioned an AFC
Mm-hmm.
West team right there that has been
Hey,
the king of the division, right? And
yeah,
obviously the NFL. I've been
yeah.
watching Quarterback on Netflix too. That's really, I'm talking about
Oh my
reality
God.
shows.
I tell a lot of people now, a lot of people get so harsh on these guys and talk about athletes. And
Mhm.
I recommend everybody that talks about NFL players to watch this show. And you have a found respect for what these quarterbacks have to go through and function and relay to, 10 other guys within half a second. Because and then you got guys coming at you to try to take off your head. So
Yeah.
all you Monday morning quarterback guys on social media, watch that show. It will give you a newfound respect for quarterbacks.
I admit it does. And, just looking at some of the bruises that Mahomes has and watching Kirk Cousins go into these
Yeah,
ice baths where it's part of his routine to sit there on a Monday. And then he's talking about he has 6 days to get ready. And then you think, well, nowadays, sometimes you got four, when you
yeah,
go from a Sunday game and you travel, then you get back and you're doing your walkthroughs and you're, training meetings and film and all that in the Thursday game preparation. I
yeah,
mean, that's just mind blowing to me
yeah,
what the body goes through. And, part of your career, you're known as Mighty Mouse for quite
mm.
a while because you're, the 5'9" and under with the Randall Cunningham show that you all did. And
yeah.
um, when you think about just your career, how you made it there, I mean, the tenacity that it took to really make it in this league as an undersized, guy. I mean, what was
Mhm.
that process and that like for you?
A lot of people don't know. I didn't play football until my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
So then I went to JUCO and played 2 years, and then got a scholarship to Alabama and played 2 years. And by the time I was in the NFL, I've only played like 5 years of organized football, which is crazy. So
Yeah.
just the process, getting drafted to the Eagles was a blessing. I got a chance to play with Eric Allen, Jerome Brown, Reggie White. There were so many guys on that team. Randall Cunningham, Herschel Walker. Just to name it, I can just go on about guys that was on that team, and just going into that locker room and knowing that these guys was established killers, trained killers back then. You can really take a guy head off and not worry about getting a penalty for it. So just being able to crack their lineup as a rookie, being drafted as in the 10th round, not expected to make the team. It was always just so real, but I just kept at it. Just the same mentality I still take today. Whatever I put my mind to, I don't accept no for an answer, and just keep it going. And just seeing these guys playing the game today, it's a different ball game, but you still got to be mentally prepared. These guys are still hitting each other. They're actually bigger, stronger, faster now.
And that's why I wanted to get you on, was because we were just mentioning the Chiefs, and then I went a little, sidetrack, and I'm gonna bring it full circle on the railroad here. So when talk about the Chiefs being the kings of this AFC West division, and you see what the Raiders just did defensively in bringing in a guy like Marcus Peters, a homegrown Oakland guy. You know, when you think about the Raiders, I mean, that connection is there for him. Just ultimately, what do you think he brings to this team, even despite the fact that, you know, he may be getting up there in years?
I talked to Eric Allen about this yesterday. We were texting back and forth.
Nice.
I said, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this pickup?" He's like, "Mac, this will be great for the locker room. You know, just for the mentality for the younger guys on how to be a pro. You know, this guy has been leading the National Football League. I think he's got like 20 something more interceptions than the entire team with the Raiders in their career. So he's a ball hawk. He's a guy that I love when he was back in Kansas City. Obviously, you know, his mentality is a little different. But you need that on the corner. You know, if you need a guy that's going to be crazy out there, that's going to take some chances, that's not going to be back down from anybody. You know, what a treat. Guy from Oakland, he gets to play for the Raiders. You know, every kid that grew up in California, including myself, wanted to play for the Raiders. And, you know, this guy, you know, his career is winding down, but he has a lot of knowledge how to play the game that he can pass on to these guys. I'm excited to see him get after it. You know, like I said, I was a big fan of his when he was with the Chiefs. So now I'm being able to see him live. I'm excited to see this guy perform, and hopefully he can take those guys to the next level.
When you look at him and Patrick Graham's system as well, when you think about where he could be placement, because I don't think there's any chance he's anything less than a starter, and automatically comes in the field and tries to make an impact. But would you figure that he would fit more into a zone scheme or more into a man scheme at this point?
He's always been in a man scheme defense. That's why he's you know, he's able to gamble. You know, because the ball has to come out quick. He reads the ball really well. He gives up some big plays every now and then, but you know, you keep throwing it to his side, sooner or later he's going to pick it off and take it back for a touchdown. So hopefully they can change the scheme a little bit. You know, obviously you have Hobbs over there who can play man. So hopefully Graham figure out some packages that he can blitz a little bit more. You still have Crosby, you have Chandler Jones, you have the number one pick out of Texas Tech. So you got some guys that can put pressure on the quarterback and guys that can cover on the corner, especially in this AFC, because these quarterbacks are throwing the ball a lot.
Yeah, and that's one thing I always think about when they look at the defense that the Raiders are putting together is, can they beat Patrick Mahomes? Because ultimately that's what it's going to come down to twice a year. And if you want to be a playoff contender, you at least got to get through it once, right? So I feel like that's, I mean, not necessarily, but you know what I'm saying? Like you got to be able to beat the top guys, I think, to be able to get there. When you look at Justin Herbert too, what he's able to do with the football, I mean, he's slinging it around and really good accuracy on it. So overall, like when you talked about Tyree Wilson coming in, how much do you think this defense has improved with some of the guys that they now have brought in, from like Robert Spillane to Marcus Epps and some of the other faces that'll be new to this roster?
I think they improved a lot. You know, obviously, you know, you get some veterans in the secondary. Obviously, the guy comes from the Eagles who has Super Bowl experience that can play safety. Like I said, it's a good thing to have for Patrick Graham to have a defensive back room that guys are going to have to compete now. And, you know, it's not going to be, you know, who's up next. It's like, Mark, like you said, Marcus Peters, you can put him in as a starter. There's no way he's coming here to be a third down guy or a situational guy. He's a guy that you set on the edge and you go out there and say, hey, guard this guy. But like I said, there's some quarterbacks in this division that the defense is surrounding themselves, making some good offseason deals. This Marcus, that was a shock for me to see him, you know, still out there. And for the Raiders to get them, showing that they are trying to win. You know, they're trying to beef up their defensive side of the ball to win. You know, a lot of money went into Jimmy G. So, you know, you got to sprinkle some of that over to the defensive side because you got to be able to stop some people.
Just a few more for you. When you talked about just how much they have improved, and you mentioned some of the numbers earlier that, you know, that Marcus Peters may have more interceptions than half of the team has in a career aspect. Then my thought with that too is just when you think about the lack of turnovers the Raiders were able to create last year, would you say that it falls more upon getting pressure up front, or that, you know, looking for a playmaker like a Marcus Peters that's able to finally come in and set that tone in the locker room, like you mentioned, and be able to try to uplift these guys to get after it in the ball in the secondary and be able to make some plays?
Yeah, it's all about a mentality when you're playing defensive back. Playing defense, period, is a mentality. Like I said, they haven't had too many turnovers over the last couple of years. I think they may have had 4 or 5 last year, and those were like game-ending freak turnovers. But it's not guys that's really getting after it and going after the ball, and that's what Marcus Peters is going to bring to this team. He's going to go after the ball. When you have a Max Crosby who's putting tons of pressure on the quarterback. Uh, as a defensive back, man, you gotta love Max because the ball has to come out fast because he's going to get to the quarterback sooner or later, and hopefully that'll help with these defensive backs. You got to take chances, and last year like they didn't want to pull the trigger. A lot of guys were getting beat on a lot of deep balls, and hopefully Marcus can come in and say, hey man, this is a new gene. Let's just get after it.
So they have all these new cornerbacks in the rooms and secondary in the room. Is there any particular player that you're looking forward to seeing the most right now, whether it's like Jacorian Bennett or Christopher Smith or somebody like, Marcus Epps that we mentioned? Is there anyone in particular you're really looking forward to setting your eyes on?
I'm looking for Nate Hobbs. I'm looking to see how he's going to bounce back after last year. He was up and down. He was hurt. I think this is it. I think this might be his contract year. He's been in the system, well, several systems for a while, but I've been high on Nate, man. I really like the way he goes about his business. He has that mentality like a Marcus Peters. If you can put both of those guys on the field at the same time with that mentality, it changes the secondary and it changes the way Graham can call plays because he got guys out there that can cover. So I'm looking for Nate Hobbs to stay healthy, to see how he bounces back because the way these cornerbacks are getting paid nowadays, I'm sure he's looking at all these salaries and hopefully he has a big year and he cashes in on his payday.
Yeah, I just saw Saquon Barkley get a rework deal from the Giants,
Yeah.
and I'm wondering too if that kind of thing could work out for Josh Jacobs. We heard from Josh McDaniels this morning, and McDaniels mentioned that they are not anywhere closer to a deal than they already were. So I imagine that means franchise tag. In which case, if he tries to go outside, then the Raiders can match whatever offer. That, as far as I understand, I would have to give up picks. So I mean, and ideal scenario for the Raiders is obviously he plays on the franchise tag, but for Josh Jacobs, he's looking to get paid. So do you feel like Saquon Barkley's deal, which was, about 11 million plus, I think guaranteed plus a $2 million incentive, do you feel like that could set a pace for what Josh Jacobs could get with the Raiders?
I'm sure Josh looked at the deal and was like, okay, he signed, but at the end of the day, I'm the NFL rushing leader. I led the league in rushing. I was the MVP of the team. I bet on myself. They didn't restructure my deal last year, so I took a chance and still came out. And all he did was just put up career numbers. Behind Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson and those guys. So it sucks for the running back position because they're not as valuable as other positions. And I feel for those guys because at the end of the day, you have to still be able to run the ball. But you look at Pacheco over in Kansas City. I think they got him in like the 3rd round out of Rutgers, and you look at that, it's like, well, we can get running backs and just put them in our system and not have to pay these guys this franchise tag money. So hopefully Josh can get some money, man. Hopefully, maybe Jimmy G gives up a little bit. Maybe Jimmy G restructures his deal if it really means that much to you as a quarterback. And if I'm Jimmy G, I got to think about that because he's still going to get his money. Restructure your deal a little bit so Josh can come on in and because you're going to need Josh Jacobs. I know they got some guys behind him, but man, there's nothing like Josh Jacobs behind you.
I love all of the insights that you gave me today. Mark, if there's anything that I missed that you would like to tell people about that you have coming up and where to find you on social media, now is that time.
I'm just excited to get back to it. I know training camp. I'm excited to get back to the facility and see all my old comrades, my media family. I'm the media now, so I'm the guy behind the mic. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to be back with CBS to do the Raiders pre and post game show. So they're invited me here. So I'm excited about that. And let's go. I'm ready for some football.
I'm ready for some ribs. I meant that when we talked last time that I was dead serious about getting together. When my cools down right now, it is like scorching earth of the lava, walking through like your king in Kung Fu. But we got to get together and do some ribs, have a cookout. We got to get that done for sure.
We'll make it happen, but make sure you go to Evil Pie and support the St. Jude's
Yes.
Ranch and get that Grillin' McMillan barbecue brisket pizza.
Ooh, yes. The sweet heat. I can't say that's all it's gonna be in my head today is the sweet heat. I'm gonna be thinking about that, thinking about you. I love that you came on to join me today. I really do appreciate it, Mark. For Mark McMillan, I'm Heidi Fang. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in.